Glad to see so many people here. This is great. Please feel free to tweet along with us using the hashtag RedditUNC. We can't move on without promotion team and Daniel Kreis and John Clark for putting this event together. The struggle was real, but we made it happen, so thank you all so much. The special shout out to the School of Journalism and Mass Communications, Center for Media Policy, the Rees News Lab, QWAP, and the Computer Science Club. Thank you so much. Today, Zach Clayton will be interviewing Alexis after his talk. Zach is a UNC journalism alum, now an entrepreneur interested in the intersection of digital media, tech, and marketing, and the founder and CEO of Free Ships Media, a digital marketing agency. And of course, we are extremely pleased to have Alexis Ohanian here with us today. Alexis loves hummus, the Brooklyn Nets, his cat, bacon, and his girlfriend. And his mother always told him he was special, so let's give him a strong round of applause. There's a real introduction for him, actually, but you can take a seat, of course. He is the co-founder of Reddit, that top 50 US website that we now call the front page of the internet. Now a Reddit board member, Alexis focuses on social enterprise, Breadpig, publishing authors like XKCD and SMBC, with profits donated to worthy causes. Alexis helped launch Hitmonk and ran marketing, PR, and community before becoming an advisor during the fight against SOPA and PIPA. He invests and advises over 70 tech startups. He is Y Combinator's ambassador to the East and wrote the national best-selling book without their permission. Along the way, Alexis spoke at TED and was named on Forbes under 30 list 2 years in a row and then turned 30. So now let's give him a real round of applause. Thanks for being here, Alexis.
Hi everybody, didn't mean to fake you out there. I hope I'm wearing, is this Tar Heel blue? Is this close? No? Close enough. It's not Duke blue, that's for sure. So, very happy to be here. And I have to say, first and foremost, don't hold it against me, but I did my undergrad at UVA. And you feel sorry, I know, because it's a football thing, I know. All right? Look, I would love to say I'm a fan of UVA football. We just haven't really had a football team in a little while. But, I have to admit, and in the run-up for this event, we're doing 75 universities across the country and Canada, our hat to the north. And this right here is the one that I have been so excited for because you guys have gone above and beyond. You've outdone every other university I've seen in terms of promotion and hustle. So can we give it up one more time for the organizers, all students who did this. Awesome, because something like this does not happen without amazing student organizers actually running all of it. But what am I here to talk about? All right, so yeah, I got this book. It's a great excuse to have a bus and go around the country. I want to tell stories about the early days of things like Reddit and Hitmonk, but the thing that excites me is the internet enabling people, hopefully all of you, to reach your maximum potential for awesome. All right, now, I take it there are probably a number of you in the audience right now who are working on projects you really care about, you're really excited about, that you're proud of. Has anyone got, just by show of hands, any projects that you're working on you're really proud of, you really love? Anyone got something? Okay, that was a very knowing nod. Would you mind coming up here and just pitching it to everyone? Yeah? Yeah, come on, clap it up. Let's see some time. Now, it may look like this was cheating because she was one of the awesome people who brought me up here, but this was not premeditated, okay? So please tell the world what you're working on.
I'm actually doing the first study that I have been able to find on library and information science attitudes towards illegal downloading of content. Yeah, and the connection that may or may not have with ethics training, who knows? So.
awesome. Clap it up. Thank you. Thanks so much. And actually, hold on. This is a copy of the book that I signed, and I didn't know who to make it out to, but I knew that whoever I would make it out to was awesome for proving a very important point. So thank you for that. Because every one of us has amazing ideas. You don't have to keep it up any longer. Thank you. Every one of us has amazing ideas, and the difference between those of us who just have those ideas and those who actually do them and change the world are the ones who are willing to put their hands up and do something a little weird and a little random and a little unrehearsed and unexpected, like get up in front of a bunch of people sharing it. So thank you for sharing your passion. Can we clap it up one more time? That is exactly what this is about. And the internet is an amazing place because it enables us to do that at a scale the world has never seen before. It lets us be awesome in a way that we've never known before, and that makes me really happy. But let's get this thing started. Most people know me as the dude who drew mascots and helped start a bunch of different companies, all with cute mascots. It's not required, I just love doing it. It's really nice having a cute little logo smiling at you every morning when you go to work. But I'm obviously not the first person to come up with this whole mascot thing. Lots of people have been doing it. Organizations like universities, for instance, have long had mascots. I did some research on what a Tar Heel was, and I'm still trying to understand the connection between Ramses, is that right? And the tar on the heels because of the pine industry back in the day. This is Wikipedia, so it could all be wrong. I don't know, all right? Hopefully I'm not getting graded on this. But the point is, mascots are amazing because you also get to dress up like them sometimes. And that was one of the best lessons I learned. If any of you are thinking about becoming internet entrepreneurs, have a cute mascot because then you can call up a mascot design company and have them actually make you a life-size costume of either your Reddit alien or Hitmonk Chipmunk. But in this case, obviously universities use it as a way to get people really excited. I am really excited because this man and his mustache, despite being magnificent, are wrong. And this is obvious, right? Everyone knows the world is not flat. The Greeks knew this thousands of years ago. NASA knows this. The world is not flat, Tom Friedman, but the World Wide Web is. And as long as all links are created equal, as long as anyone can get access to any link they want on this level playing field, ideas can spread faster and further than ever, right? It's the world's largest stage and library in one. And it is ever changing and ever growing. And if I can blow your minds just for a second, one of the reasons I've been so jealous on this entire tour is because I get to hang out with college students who have advantages that I could have only dreamed of when I was in school just 8 years ago. When I was at UVA, YouTube did not exist. Yeah, that was the sound of your collective minds exploding, all right? The advantages that you all have right now make me very jealous, but they also make me really hopeful because you're going to get to do a bunch of amazing stuff because you have power. Do none of you know what this is? This is, oh God, I'm so old. So the power glove, yes. Yes, and it's not the best metaphor because admittedly it was not the best way to play video games, right? It was actually a terrible controller. But the point is, we have a kind of power that we've never really seen before. And any one of us, even, yeah, that was me. Around the time when I got an internet connection with my dog, had a lot of swag back then. A lot of swag. And thank you for the sympathetic sighs. Aww. Yeah, I was a middle school kid with a 33.6, and it changed. You don't even know what that is. It was slow, all right? It was a slow internet connection, and it changed my life because I can have a GeoCities webpage that anyone in the world with an internet connection could look at. And I had a Quake 2 fan page, and I had animated GIFs of flaming skulls and a cool rocket launcher, and I said, I love Quake 2, it's the best. And I learned how to make it blink, and it blinked. That was a terrible, remember that HTML tag, blink? Anyway, I would look at that counter and I would see 50 people. Well, okay, it was just me reloading the page, but I, at the time, thought it was 50 people all over the world looking at this little thing that I had made that was sharing knowledge all over, and I didn't need anyone's permission to do it. I could just create a website and spread an idea, even if it was a lame fan page of a video game, okay? And it's come a long way. And all of us as a generation has a tremendous advantage. I'm not gonna do the Bane impression, I'm not gonna. They merely adopted the internet. We were born in it, molded by it. Oh, thank you. I hope you will not forget that. Because when I look around and I see a world that is undoubtedly being affected by this technology, every industry is being changed by the internet, and we don't know where it's headed. But those of us who have a fundamental understanding, those of us who have a fluency and an appreciation for this technology have a tremendous advantage. I know, we've all seen the headlines about millennials, right? Okay, but the reason not to sleep on us as a generation is because we have a fluency when it comes to this kind of technology, and you know what I'm talking about, right? Your parents call up, they need some help, and like this well-intentioned grandma, they know they need to be on the Netflix. And who could blame them, right? House of Cards, Orange is the New Black, those are great shows. Who wouldn't want to see them? Really good. But the point is, it's still just a little off. There are companies, there are industries that are trying so hard to adapt to this new world. Some of them aren't even trying. But the best ones are trying so hard to adapt, but they just don't fundamentally understand it in the same way we do because we have grown up with it. So please take full advantage, and I'll even go a step further. How many of you right now are writing code or learning how to code? By show of hands. Nice, okay. Just so you know, everyone with your hand up, you have the most valuable skill of this century. So congratulations, okay? Now for the rest of you, good news everyone, all right? It is also one of the most freely available things to learn. You can go on Code Academy right now, you don't have to enroll in a class, you can go on Code Academy, you can start messing around with Rails for zombies. There are so many tutorials available, and that's how every one of us, from Zuckerberg to my co-founder Steve Huffman, learned primarily, was through these freely available resources. And this is a skill that is not mandatory, but is going to become a new fluency of this century. And look, the bottom line is we are still discovering and exploring and creating this world online in code. And those of us who are exploring it, hopefully all of you in the audience, who are creating stuff on it, from launching Kickstarter campaigns to starting your first Etsy store, starting up a photo blog, are the kind of Lewis and Clarks. Okay, let me be your Sacagawea. Let me be your guide to this digital world. But those of you who can actually write the code, those of you who can actually build those platforms are building the new frontier under our feet. And that is amazingly powerful. We need as many people as possible doing it. We also need them to not just look like me, not just be white dudes. We need as many people as possible writing code and building great stuff. Because look, every one of us has a great idea, right? Don't we? No one ever runs up to you breathlessly to be like, oh God, I have a terrible idea, I need to tell you. Just give me a minute, it's gonna waste your time, you're gonna hate me, right? No one ever says. We all think we have good ideas, and that's reasonable, we should, right? This is a famous quote said by everyone. Everyone has good ideas. What matters is execution. That is everything that matters, and it's a matter of getting really good, using these years that you have here when you're unencumbered by full-time jobs, when you're unencumbered by responsibilities outside of just remembering your meal plan, like to be doing stuff, to be getting in the habit of having ideas and doing them. All right? This is one of those times when actually failure is an option, and it's okay to make a bad decision. Right? Really? Was there some sympathy? Like, let's not make fun of Duke anymore. I mean, I don't know. Look, I'm gonna be at Duke tomorrow, and I can't promise you this won't say like going to UNC. But no, I'm just kidding. I won't. No. I went to UVA. So we all hate Duke together. All right? We all. Wow. And I think they like that better than the Bane impression. They like that better than the Bane impression. All right, fair enough. All right? But look, these stories have ups and downs. They're not just overnight. All right? So this is a little bit about what happened before Reddit. I was actually going to be an immigration lawyer until a fateful day when I walked out of an LSAT prep course, it's early Saturday morning, and into a Waffle House. Changed my life. Waffle House epiphanies. Hopefully some of you have had them. They are delicious, they are affordable. And there was a Waffle House on 29 in Charlottesville that I walked into with my good friend Jack Thorman and decided I didn't want to be a lawyer. It was going to cost a lot of money, it was going to take 3 years, and when I got done with it, I would have to be a lawyer. And I thought, well, if I want waffles more than I want to do this LSAT, I probably don't really want to be a lawyer. So I started talking to my good friend Steve Huffman. I met him on move-in day, literally the first day of school. He was across the hall playing video games. I was excited because there was another gamer in college who I could play video games with. He was really upset because he had seen my name, Alexis, and thought he was living on a co-ed hall. And he was bummed. He was sad. But then we became friends. And we would always talk about new technologies we wanted to exist in the world. And he was a developer throughout college. he had a job lined up for him for when he graduated. It was a great job. He was ready to go into it. And I needed something to do with my life. And so I talked him into starting a company with me. And the idea we had was something that Steve had spawned while he was waiting in line at Sheetz gas station. Oh yeah. Because they had those touch screens inside. And he said, why do I have to wait to go inside to touch a screen? I have a mobile device. I can place this order while I'm pumping gas, and then my sub will be there waiting for me. And I thought, dude, see, that's a brilliant idea. It's not just a line at Sheetz, it's a line everywhere, right? We could avoid having to wait in line if we just placed that order. And we thought, all right, we could do this. And I talked him out of that job. And I talked him into living in near poverty with me as a college student or post-grad college student for as long as possible, right? If we had ramen, if we had pizza, we were happy. And he was like, all right, cool, I'll do it, we'll do this. And we started talking about it. We were gonna call it My Mobile Menu, or Yeah, very, all right, we'll workshop it, fine. Okay, well, we're gonna do My Mobile Menu, and we're really excited because we were working on it for a good 6 months, and then it was our senior year, and we were excited. We talked to restaurateurs in Charlottesville. We were getting ready for our senior year spring break, and like a lot of seniors on our spring break, we were not going, I'm just kidding, we weren't gonna go up there. We actually looked at the prospect of going to the beach and realized too much screen glare, terrible internet, like it's not a fun place to bring a laptop. So instead, we went to Boston to hear a talk by a guy named Paul Graham called How to Start a Startup. And this talk changed our lives. We went up, took a very long train, went up to Boston, pitched Paul on this idea on after the talk, and he said, you know what, not bad. I actually kind of like it. I think you guys might be onto something. And we were thrilled. So we go back to Virginia, keep working. We hear about this new thing called the Summer Founders Program. It was something called Y Combinator. And this was the first ever class of Y Combinator, and so we applied because they were offering a little bit of money to a couple of founders who wanted to start something on the internet. We thought, this is great, we already met Paul. He already liked we could go, we'll get the funding, we'll have money to start our company. So we go up and we do a great job with the interview. Just kill it. Amazing job. We get the call that night and they rejected us, which sucked. So we got drunk, and we got drunk. And the next morning, hungover, we're on our way back to Virginia. And then Paul calls. Hello? So we still don't like your idea. All right, okay. But we like you guys. And if you're willing to change your idea, we'll let you into the program. And it took Steve and me about a minute to get off at the very next stop and head right back to Boston and say, all right, we'll do it, we're in, whatever it takes. We go back up to Boston, we sit with Paul, and he says, listen, it's too early for mobile. Keep in mind, this was 2005, so the smartest phone was the Palm Trio. Remember that? Yeah, with the stylus. Yeah, there was all, I could have made a comment about BlackBerry, but it's too soon. It's just too soon for that. But those are the smartest phones, and so he said, don't bother, it's too early. Build something on the web. Build something that solves a problem you have every day. And so we thought about it, and Steve read Slashdot every morning, and I was using these brand new things called tabs every morning in my browser, and I'd have all these news websites. And we thought, all right, we can solve something here. We need to know what's going on in the world every morning. What can we do to solve this problem? And we were talking about more and more, and you know, eventually Paul, as we were kind of working on this, is like, you know what, that's it. You guys should build the front page of the internet. We look at him like, this guy's going to give us money to build what? But all right, sucker, we'll take your money. We'll build the front page of the internet, no problem. So we took his money. We go up to Boston. We graduated. This is the first photo of us after graduation, like a day into Y Combinator. I'm wearing my Cafe Press Reddit shirt. You'll notice I had a mascot and a name before we even had a product, which I do not advise, but I just really like mascots. You'll notice if you look at Steve's photo to this very day, he actually looks the exact same. And that is because he's a vampire. Me, not so much. But the point is, you can't tell from this photo, so I was able to enhance it a little bit. Enhance. There we go. I have no idea what I am doing. This is how we got started, all right? And if you look at any endeavor, the people who started to some extent have no fucking clue what they're doing. All right, if they're honest, and I'll even go a step further. Anyone who's ever on a stage in front of you talking like any kind of authority, if they ever tell you that they've got it all figured out, they know exactly what they're doing, they're either a liar or delusional, okay? Really, we're all figuring this shit out. And experience helps a ton, but we're always finding ourselves in situations where we just don't know what we're doing and trying our best. That's what life is, all right? Life is just figuring this shit out. It's not a paint by number. There is no prescribed path for anyone. We're all just figuring this shit out. And the fact is, every one of you, by virtue of the fact that you are here, and I will point out to say that I did take a university tour of the University of North Carolina when I was looking at colleges, but then they told me the out-of-state acceptance rate, and I slowly walked out of the room. Just very slowly. But for a minute, I thought about it. Look, by virtue of the fact that you all are here, you are good at not failing. You are really good at getting good grades, at passing the right test, at advancing to the next level. You're really good at that. But as soon as you leave here, that stuff goes away, right? Life then becomes about dealing with stuff, dealing with setbacks, dealing with failures, not knowing what the hell to do because there is no path, all right? And this is one of the advantages we do have as millennials because so many of those prescribed paths have already been obliterated in front of us, right? We have to, in many cases, make our own careers and figure out our own way because a lot of those prescribed paths aren't there. But we have an advantage, all right? Because you can get over yourself right here, right now. You can get over the embarrassment and just start shipping and just start making. This is the first version of Reddit, all right? And it's not going to win a beauty contest today, but it definitely wouldn't have won one then. You'll notice one important thing from this, aside from it not being very attractive. This was 3 weeks in. Paul basically told us, you guys haven't launched yet, and that's either because you want it to be perfect or because you're incompetent. Either way, you're hosed. So we thought, all right, well, we don't think we're incompetent, so we'll just launch. All right? You'll notice from this, I have a -1 karma. That is because Steve is a dick. Oh, he downvoted me. There are only 2 of us in the room, so I'm looking over my computer like, really? Really, Steve? It's not very nice. Not very nice at all. This is the first version. We had people around us who said, just ship, just launch, get over it. It's going to be embarrassing, but it'll be fine. All right? Whatever that first version is, whether it's your blog, whether it's an app, whether it's a Kickstarter, whether it's an Etsy store, get in the habit of just shipping, of launching it. You might find out there are competitors out there. This is what we figured out like a week after we launched, because I did a terrible job doing competitive analysis. Found out that there was a site called Dig, and it was similar, better looking. It had a TV personality, a TV star founder who announced it on his TV show, Kevin Rose. He didn't mention it was his website when he announced it, but still, it was launched on television. It had Silicon Valley money. It was in the valley, this magical place of startups and technology. And here we were, a couple of UVA graduates, had no fucking clue what we were doing, with $12,000 in the bank and a couple of computers in a rented apartment in a suburb of a suburb of a suburb of Boston. So admittedly, we didn't like those odds. And admittedly, we thought, fuck. And so I emailed the team, and I was just like, hey, Steve, we have a competitor. I think we should have a meeting about this. And we talked to Paul, who's always a good advisor, and he said, listen, don't care about your competition for a second. Your competition will not beat you. You will beat yourself. And the moment you start paying attention to them is the moment you start copying them. And Paul was absolutely right. Absolutely right. In hindsight, Dig and all the Dig clones self-destructed. It took a few years, but in the meantime, we just focused on building our own kind of platform. And it worked out. You don't have to be there in Silicon Valley. You don't have to do those sorts of prescribed things because there are no prescriptions. And there will be setbacks. We had a meeting just a few months after we launched. Steve and I were invited to Yahoo to pitch an executive there on what we're working on. We're really excited. So we go out west. We had this meeting with Google that went really well. So we go to Yahoo and we think it's going to go even better. We sit down with Yahoo, we start talking about Reddit, and he cuts us off. He's like, hold on. How much traffic do you guys have anyway? And we looked at each other, we're like, well, we just launched a few months ago, but it's growing week over week. It's just, a few thousand users. He says, you guys are a rounding error compared to Yahoo. What are you even doing here? Yeah. And so needless to say, that meeting did not go well. We looked at each other and thought, damn, did he invite us here to make fun of us? What was the point of this? So we went back. We went back home and we thought, all right, we'll just take this, and we got a plan. So I went to the printer when we got back to Boston, and I printed something out and put it on the wall, and it said very simply, you are a rounding error. Put it right on the wall, right next to me. So every morning I'd have my wall of negative reinforcement and I could know exactly who we were proving wrong, all right? There are gonna be haters. Embrace them, eat them for breakfast like waffles. Have a little grits with them, whatever you like, all right? Eat it up. There are gonna be constructive critics who are incredibly helpful, and there's gonna be straight up haters, all right? Eat them for breakfast. Now, if you can be better than this is the thing you need to please. You need to be better than the back button. Good little PG quote. Be better than this. This is the enemy. Our attention spans are so short and the internet is so full of cats that you have to be better. That's my cat, Karma. I love her. Yeah, that's her. You heard about her earlier. She's so sweet. You have to be better than that because the internet's full of cats and they're not going away and they're always competing for people's attention. And you need to win over every single person who sees whatever you do, every blog post, everything, right? Because only your mother will care about what you've made, right? She's the only one because moms are awesome. They'll check it out, but you need to convince everyone else to use whatever you've been working on. But it's doable, all right? And part of it's getting over failure. It's not that bad of a word. It is life. There are tremendous failures that you will experience, setbacks, all that stuff, but it's totally okay. And one of my favorite stories has nothing to do with business. It actually has to do with a guy who couldn't finish the University of Georgia, failed out at Georgia, and his friends and family were just worried. They're like, dude, figure it out. And he was like, no, I got it. He couldn't handle a job, couldn't just do anything right. And he said, I know what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to New York City. And I thought, you are crazy. Why? You don't even have a job. And he said, no, I got it. I'm gonna take photos. Like, you don't even have a camera. You've never taken a photo before in your life. Like, why? This is a terrible plan. This could be the worst plan you've ever had. And he's like, no, I'm gonna do it. So he goes up, and he sucks at first. And let's be clear, sucking is the first step to being sort of good at something. Yeah, Adventure Time. You know what I'm talking about, all right? Sucking's the first step, so go forth and suck, okay? Don't take that out of context. He sucked, all right? And his photos were bad at first, but he created this Tumblr and he said, you know what, I'm gonna create new content every day. I'm gonna try to get better. I'm gonna get inspired by other photographers. I'm gonna start talking to the people who I interview, and I'm gonna work really, really hard to get better at this craft. And 3 years went by, and this guy who, by all accounts, was a failure, right? Couldn't make it through University of Georgia, couldn't hold a job, his friends and family were so worried about him. He's now one of the most viewed photographers in the world, Humans of New York. Now, Brandon Stanton had no business becoming one of the best known photographers in the world, but he did. And he started with a simple internet connection, a camera, and sucking. And in 3 years, he is where he's at today. And it's amazing. And he is an outlier, but there's no reason why any one of you cannot do that, or any of the other things that excite you and are your passion. All right, and one of the reasons I like this so much is because it makes me happy, right? I want to see the internet live up to its fullest potential, and I want to see as many people as possible reaching that maximum potential for awesome. And so in the book, I talk about a bunch of different people, right? There's Zach Wiener. Oh, good old Zach Wiener. Could you imagine this comic next to Family Circus? No, because Family Circus is dumb. There's some Family Circus fans out there, right? No, because there are none. No, but Zach Wiener was a closed captionist. This guy was professionally, for a living, taking the words coming out of Snooki's mouth and typing them down. Like, that's soul-crushing, all right? But he started a site, he started creating these comics, and he runs this from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And he's one of the best-known, most popular webcomics in the country. This is Lester Chambers. He's a 72-year-old musician who sent a photo viral when he photoed himself holding up a gold record, saying that despite having lived a good life, he never got paid by the music industry. After years of producing hits and gold records, he had signed a bad deal. The music industry ripped him off, never paid him. I know it's shocking, right? The music industry taking advantage of artists. Who knew? So what he did was he went on Kickstarter and raised over $60,000 for an album. The first album of his own ever in his life. And if you hear him talk about the internet now, he's 73 and I saw him out in San Francisco. He sounds like any other wide-eyed, skinny-jeaned hipster pitching their startup, okay? This is a 73-year-old musician who's so thrilled because for the first time, fans are directly connected to artists. And it's not just in music, it's not just in photography, it's in comedy. This is Zach Anner. So Zach Anner has cerebral palsy, and he made a simple video to win the internet over about why he should host a travel show. And it picked up millions of views because this dude is hilarious. And when you think about it, it is a little unconventional, right? Because for whatever reason, no gatekeeper decided that someone with cerebral palsy should be on TV, let alone hosting a show. But he used an internet connection and some good cameras, and now he's got an amazing show and hundreds of thousands of followers doing something called Have a Little Faith. It's a show he's got on Soul Pancake. And he's making the entertainment, he's making the comedy he wants to make on his terms and making a living doing it. And it's not just for profit, it's also not for profit. This is a woman named Debbie Guardino. She's a full-time teacher in Virginia. She's got a lot going on in her life, but it didn't stop her when a tornado ripped through Joplin, Missouri, from going to the internet, going to social media, and going to a site called DonorsChoose.org and fundraising to help rebuild that community. And in the span of weeks, this one person raised over $500,000 in money and supplies in relief. All right? And what's amazing is all of these people would have been just as awesome pre-internet, but we never would have known it. We never would have benefited from it. And that's why I'm so hopeful, because there are hopefully going to be many more people doing what they love and being great at it, and we're all going to be better off for it. And so as these barriers start to fall, as more and more access comes to more and more Americans and more skills come along with them, we're going to see a lot more power for every one of us to be able to do those things that we care about. And it makes me happy. It's the reason why I want to knock this word off of its pedestal. Because entrepreneur is not just something you see on a magazine cover. They're not just like different humans from the rest of us, right? We're all being entrepreneurial. Entrepreneurship is just having ideas and doing them. Get in the habit of doing this with whatever excites you. You don't even ever have to start a company. These are the skills that make you an amazing person to hire, an amazing person to work with. All right? And I want to just point out, I still don't know what I'm doing. I still have no idea. I'm still trying to figure this out. But I'm counting on you guys, no pressure, to create this amazing future I want to live in. And I'm going to 150 locations, 75 universities. Those books are not to scale, by the way. That would be terrifying. Only giants could read it too, so it would really limit the market. The point is, we're taking this message everywhere. And every one of you should have a postcard. You have that postcard? You guys probably don't know what postcards are. So we used to send mail with a stamp. Anyway, write something on this card that you want to accomplish by the end of our tour. We'll be back in Brooklyn in March, and I'll have a giant sack full of these postcards. If you write your mailing address, I'll take them down to the post office, assuming they're still around, and mail them to you. And so you can hopefully see a note from your past self, hoping that you'll accomplish something. It could be learning French, it could be learning Python, it could be starting that Etsy store, I don't care. Write it down, have one of the Without Their Permission teams pick it up, and I'll mail it to you when we get back. All right, now, if that weren't enough, I need all of you to go be amazing, okay? And I need you to let me know so that I can show off all of the awesomeness that is happening all over the country. All right, whether that's tweeting at me, whether it's joining this community that I'm forming, this is not a small feat, and I know that it's not going to happen without a ton of help. But I am so optimistic and so excited about what the future brings. And look, when I think about the potential, it's so vast and unknown, right? That's the beauty of innovation. I have no fucking clue what's coming. But I do know that the trends are all really positive, and the more of you that can get started today, the better. And if I weren't enough to convince you, Zach very kindly offered a photo of himself in college as well as one today. I'm a fellow Tar Heel, okay? So if I can't convince you, here's someone who I normally would say was literally in this auditorium, but Zach has already told me that he tried to avoid classes in this auditorium whenever possible. And here's someone who was and always will be a Tar Heel, who was here at UNC and has gone on to do some amazing stuff on the internet. So like I said, if I couldn't motivate you, hopefully Zach can. Everyone clap it up for Zach Clayton. This is very formal. This is the Fireside chat portion, which you notice is devoid of Fireside for safety reasons. But we do have mugs with water.
I was kind of disappointed with a Fireside chat.
Oh, yeah, sorry. But all right, so hold on a second. Ta-da! Let's talk about Three Ships Media. But actually, let's back up. Quick pitch on Three Ships Media, and then I'm gonna ask you what your favorite class was when you were here at UNC.
Yeah. So we're a data-driven digital marketing agency. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Yeah. We're a data-driven digital marketing agency. We really focus on serving mid-sized companies that are trying to connect with more customers and grow their revenue. And I started UNC exactly 10 years ago, and did have a freshman economics course in this class, in this very classroom. I think Boone Tershi taught it. Is he still here?
Oh, Boone Tershi. Boone.
So, freshman mistake number one was taking an econ course taught by the chairman of the university's committee on grade inflation.
I see.
But,
You're willing to disclose your grade in that class?
I'm not sure I remember it, but...
An interesting point though, how many times in your post-college life have you been asked about your GPA?
Only applying to that.
Only note to self, folks. Getting things done versus GPA. Yeah. What would you say was the most helpful thing for you while you were here in school?
This is it isn't a class, but I met a professor named John Sanders like my second week here at school, and we started talking out on the porch over in front of is it the Graham Student Center? Yeah, okay. And we just really hit it off. And John and I probably had lunch or dinner every week, or at least every other week for the next 4 years. And that was a friendship and a mentorship that really touched my life and made a huge difference. So that was probably the most high impact thing I did.
And that's an important point, right? Because when you have world-class faculty, and there's really nothing stopping you from getting up there and being like, hey, can we go get a coffee? Like, these are people who are leading the industry who I'm sure are thrilled to also mentor. Do you feel like, all right, let's say we've got a room full of undergrads and some grad students, but like for current students today, what's the thing you always tell them make sure to do, regardless of whether they want to start a company or just do anything?
I just think it's really a tragedy that people spend 4 years here on this campus around with fabulous professors, fabulous folks, and they're sort of cloistered here in this campus. And then they leave and they don't come back. And I think the university and the world would be a lot better off if students during their 4 years here got on that wonderful TTA bus and came over and visited me at 3 Ships in Raleigh, or visited Brad over at McKinney, or visited Clay at New Media Campaigns. You can walk there, and once a month took an hour or took an afternoon and spent some time learning off campus. And then the converse of that is I think it'd be great if the rest of the world then took a few hours each week or each month and signed on to a MOOC or came back and listened to a course. For some reason, that's just not done that much. I've seen it on both sides. I saw it when I was here, and I've seen it on the other side once I left here. And I'll tell you one of the from a career standpoint, one of the most interesting things I did about 2 years ago is I went back to summer school at NC State and took a course on statistical programming using the SAS language, and that ended up generating lots of ideas for new things that we could do with 3 Ships, just by kind of being exposed to a different set of folks and knowledge.
And can you give us a little taste of one of the biggest failures that's happened, whether it was professionally with 3 Ships or just life, but ideally entrepreneurial?
Well, I just think entrepreneurship, by definition, is a series of successes and failures. And the really successful entrepreneurs have some big successes, but they definitely have failures building up to that. And you were talking about Mark Zuckerberg. One of the things that I always just was amazed by is even 1 or 2 years into Facebook, Mark just really agonized over whether he should quit Facebook because it wasn't a passion and do this other startup he had been working on the side. Could you imagine what would happen to Facebook and to the world and to Mark Zuckerberg's bank account if he had gotten distracted by that other startup? So, part of being entrepreneurial and being creative and wanting to play with different ideas is just going to involve going down some dead ends. And the key is just is to be able to be in the game, but then step out of the game and kind of watch what's going on and say, hey, I've been going down this path. Should I zoom out and do I like where I'm going? Should I keep going down that path, or should I switch directions? But Alexis, you asked me about failure in college or after, and I had a big failure my sophomore year here at UNC. I got 3 friends to start a online newspaper. It was called 10 Minutes, and it was gonna be a summary of all the North Carolina political and business news that anybody could read in 10 minutes. And looking back on it, it was, if I wanted to really pat myself on the back, I would say it was a state-focused Huffington Post. But unlike the Huffington Post, we decided to charge for it, and we just priced it at the worst possible price point. We priced it at $99 a year, which was too little to be able to really go out and sell it. I mean, you can't recoup the cost of a sale at $99, and it was too much to be able to build the audience to have it be accessible. And so we had a great product. We got up every morning at the crack of dawn and work on this thing. We published it by 9 a.m. And really probably we started and launched it, I think, early September. I would say by December we realized it wasn't going to be viable, and we sold it at a significant loss to the mission.
I know we don't have like a screenshot of it, but did it look janky? Like, was it? I don't know. I read it at first.
I don't know if it's bad as the first website.
Yeah, but it's pretty bad. And this is the point, right? Whether it's the first version of Facebook, Twitter, anything you love, probably started out looking pretty janky. Remember the first Iron Man, right? The original, yeah, janky. It did the job though. That's a minimal viable product right there. Can you talk about like getting that first version up?
Yeah. I mean, we talk about that at 3 Ships all the time. We had a meeting today where one person was saying, we've got to get this further down the line before we show it to anybody. And I was sitting there saying, why? Let's show it to 10 people. Let's see what they think. If they don't like it, we'll change it. We'll take it in a different direction. And I think there's 2 ways to build a great startup. I'm sure Paul Graham talks about this, but one way is to have a piece of technology or science or some great invention and then go find the market for it. The other way is to find a market. College students who want to learn more about their friends became Facebook that market. Magical things happen when those 2 touch each other, and so whether you're coming at it from the market need or whether you're coming at it because you've created a piece of technology or an invention and you're trying to find the market, you've got to have a dialogue back and forth constantly between those 2 things. And that means you can't have that dialogue in your dorm room, you can't have that dialogue alone in your office. You've got to have that dialogue, talking to customers, getting feedback, coming back, talking to the engineers or the product developers, and working together.
What do you think is one of the great advantages of having your business based here in the Research Triangle?
I think talent and ideas. This is a phenomenal place. There's phenomenal talent here at UNC, at Duke and NC State, and
real quick, do you hire Blue Devils?
Unfortunately, we do.
Is it illegal to discriminate based on college? No, I'm getting nod. No, okay, it is not. Just saying.
Yeah, we have a few too many Blue Devils at 3 Ships, but I am aggressive on vetting, and so several times this year, different Blue Devils have had to wear UNC T-shirts or hats, and I've yet in my 4 years had to wear a Blue Devil hat.
Okay, but so it's a lot of it's the talent.
Yeah, I think the talent. I think it's a great. I think it's just a great place to live. I grew up in Raleigh, so I'm a little biased. But I think it's a great place to live, a great place to build a company. The talent pool is fabulous here. If you're starting a company, there's a lot to be said for living in Boston where I live, or living in Silicon Valley. But I think the Triangle is competitive in many ways with those world-class cities. And I would encourage you to think about if you're starting something, starting.
If you had a time machine, and I do not have a time machine, let's assume you kill Hitler, get that out of the way. What's the best advice you would give to yourself as an undergrad here at UNC?
If I could give advice to myself back in 2003, I would have bought Google stock.
All right, no sports almanac, none of that.
The advice I would give you is is just, is full contact. Get outside the university campus, make a rule, do it at least once a month. Develop mentors, whether they're on the faculty or outside. Make sure you're doing interesting internships. I learned so much. You just have this incredible window, the 4 years you're here, to be able to sort of go in and absorb the culture and the processes of different companies. So don't just do one internship in the summer. Try to squeeze 2 in, and just build that mental computer of how do other people do stuff. What's good, what's bad. It almost doesn't matter what your experience is. It just matters that you're adding more experiences to that bank of experiences.
When you look at the world today, right now, 2013, what's the thing that gets you the most excited?
From a business standpoint, I just think we're in this golden age of how you transform businesses using data. And so I was really excited as you asked how many people here know how to code. I think that those here in this room who learn how to code, who really learn how to use analytics, are going to have the opportunity to really transform businesses and really every enterprise, government, media, business, nonprofits, and over the next couple of decades. The thing about the internet is it has lowered the barrier to distribution for an idea, and so now what you've got to be able to do is take your skills at creating and at optimizing and apply that in a world where your marketplace is going to be.
And what do you say to undergrads who look out at the fairly uncertain job market? I mean, it's a mind job because in tech right now they can't hire enough developers. But thinking like I'm a humanities major, I was a history major. What's the best advice you give to someone in the audience?
Well, if you've spent time in internships or other places, you're going to know what skills employers want. You're going to be able to market yourself with real edge. So first of all, I would say just like a startup is about connecting kind of the supply side or the technology side with the market need, the same could be true for a job search. You're trying to find a good match. So the more you know what you're looking for and what will be a good match for you, the better able you are to say convincingly to an employer why you want to do X or Y. And the more you know about what they need, the better able you are to prepare for entering the job market and winning the good job. But I think there's not going to be any shortage of cool jobs in this economy, this knowledge economy. The question is there a match between the talent pool available and the jobs available? And that's why you see such ferocious competition for engineers, because there's not a match. The demand outstrips the supply. The great thing about everybody here in this room is you're so smart, you're so talented, you're so credentialed, and you're at this malleable stage where you can really work on what are you passionate about and then building the skills to do something that the world needs.
Being an entrepreneur, like starting a company or starting anything is a little irrational, right? There are easier ways to make a living than to start something. What keeps you from waking up in the morning and being like, nope, gonna just get a job. I'm done with it. I don't want to deal with this anymore.
Yeah, I think it is a little irrational to start something, and probably the thing that motivates most founders is they really believe in a different state in the world that they want to accomplish. They have a vision for how they want to change the world. And I've been fortunate to, when I was here in college, I started in media campaigns. I was based in Barbara. After business school, I started 3 Ships. So I've been fortunate to do my own startups a few times, and then I've been very fortunate to be on the board of other startups. And for passionate for great founders, it is not about making money or having a photo on the cover of a magazine. It's about changing the world. It's about doing something better. And for me, with 3 Ships, it was about making businesses work better, using by basically pulling innovation into companies and using it to make them better. I wanted to change the way all of our clients were doing business, and so that motivated me when maybe a financial model wouldn't. So I would encourage you, if you are thinking about starting something, to ask yourself, why would the 10th, why would the 20th, why would the 50th person join my organization? And if you ask that question, why would the 50th person join my organization? It's not going to be because of stock options. It's not going to be because you've got the best salary. It's not going to be because their office is right next door to yours. It's going to be because they believe in what you're doing.
Awesome, man. Because this is a book tour, what's a book that's changed your life?
Gosh, reading is probably my guilty pleasure. I read a lot,
Sorry, put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Don't say my book.
I would say that Martin Gilbert's Churchill biographies are really superb. Winston Churchill was elected to Parliament, the Congress of Great Britain, when he was 26 years old, and really ascended to an unprecedented position of power as Chancellor of the Exchequer by the time he was in his early 30s. And so he kind of had it all. He made it, and then he lost it all. In a short period of time, he was hit by a car because he was looking the wrong way when he was crossing the street in New York.
Yeah, of course, the wrong way.
He lost all his money in the stock market crash, and he was thrown out of power. And throughout the 1930s, he was basically considered a has-been, and he was ignored and marginalized, even by those in his own political party. And he persevered. And out of perseverance comes character. And as Margaret Thatcher said, your character is destiny. So I think each one of you is going to face setbacks, many failures, even along the way to doing great things. What I guess took away from Churchill is that even in dark and long valleys, and can you imagine being in a valley like that for a decade? If you persevere and you stay true to your convictions, you can be proud of yourself and be up and down in your convictions.
And help save Europe from the Nazis.
Yeah, so back to your
Not a bad feat,
right?
yeah, jeez. And always look both ways, okay? Always. Well, thank you very much. Let's clap it up. Take a moment. Well, oh wait, not yet. Sorry, a little ahead of myself. Do we have enough time for questions? Yes, nodding. Yes, okay. Let's take a few questions real quick. Yes. Oh, great question. Who are the people that I look up to and I follow? I mean, my parents, but you guys, they're all to myself. You guys can't have those lessons. Public role models. It's funny, it's not a lot of people in tech. I mean, I look at people like Elon Musk and I'm like, damn, modern day Tony Stark, no doubt. But then I look at people like Bill Gates and I'm like, this guy, like Gladwell actually wrote recently, and you probably saw this, the generations are going to remember Bill, but they're not going to remember Steve, because one of them is changing the world and curing polio, and the other one made a cute laptop. And I actually think he's got a point. And when I look at the amount of good that men and women like he and Buffett have been able to do and will do through those pledges, that's amazing. I would love to have that much money to be able to give it all away. Mark my words, you can record this. And then just when it comes to success and how I think of it, I gotta say Jay-Z, because, let me give you an illustration here. The way I think about it, there's the expression like born on third base, think you hit a triple. I think I was probably, I was middle class, but I'm a white dude in America, so I would put it at like first or second base in terms of like sort of where I started out. And that doesn't make success any less successful, it just keeps it in perspective. Talk about a guy like Jay-Z and how he started out. If you want to use that metaphor, like he was in the parking lot, and anything that I think, like if I ever feel like, yeah, look, it's been pretty cool, I've been able to do some stuff. I look at stuff like that and I'm like, shit, I got a ways to go. So yeah, those would be the big ones. And fortunately, most of them are alive. so we can keep learning from them. Yes. 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 Oh, this is a great question. And I see it's only fair at the School of Journalism and Mass Communications. So, what's the future of amazing long-form journalism online? It is all going to be cat photos. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, no. What is exciting is in the last, part of this, you have to think of this, it's a mind fuck. Some of it is just, it's kind of wagging the dog. Part of it's just creating a state where people are like, hey, the future of journalism is coming. There's more money that's going to go into new projects, more stuff that's going to actually fund it. And I feel like we've just started turning a corner. Specific examples, you've got Omidyar pledging all that money to Glenn Greenwald to start up this amazing world-class investigative journalism outfit. We don't quite know where it's headed, but that's interesting to me. You're seeing upstarts like Medium. You got the Twitter founders behind that one, bringing the kind of like op-ed of long form. So it's not really investigative, but I think more and more people are getting more and more creative with business models. It can't just be advertising anymore, and certainly it can't start. The problem is a lot of the incumbents are coming from a place of reputation and trying to play a page view game, and a page view game looks more like BuzzFeed, where you have cat lists. And what the advantage the upstarts have is you can start out with cat lists like BuzzFeed, and then start to hire great journalists, and then win a few Pulitzers, and all of a sudden people can grok, oh yeah, BuzzFeed does real journalism too. It'd be really hard for the Times to do a front page top 15 cat photos, right? And it's like, the traffic would be great, but it would be really hard. And so I think a lot of the innovation, a lot of the future of media is going to come, it's just starting to get formed right now, or it's in its early stages, but we need it so badly, because especially investigative journalism, the kind of really unsexy stuff that helps keep politicians honest and keep states functioning, is not getting funded right now in the way that it should be. But I'm forever the optimist. But I think we're starting to turn a corner, and there's more investment coming to more innovative journalism projects, like companies, and I'm long-term optimistic, but it's going to be an awkward few years as we figure it out. No more? Oh, okay. Good news. Hold on. We have a T-shirt cannon, and if you didn't, we're going to be going to Top of the Hill. Oh yeah, we're going to go to Top of the Hill afterwards? Yeah, so we're going to do a signing, then we're going to go to Top of the Hill, we can keep talking. I'll also post up a thread on the UNC subreddit. Actually, it's R Tar Heels. Subscribe to R Tar Heels, it's an amazing subreddit. I'll answer questions that you guys ask me there online. Now, one more thing, before I fire off these t-shirts in the crowd, I just need to thank our student organizers one more time. And if anyone who is involved or at least wants to take credit for setting this all up, could you please come up here while your fellow Tar Heels make loud noises? Because I have a Yes. Our sigil. Yeah, come on stage, come on. Yes, we're gonna hold this. Okay. Everyone can take photos. Seriously, because like I said, y'all at UNC were the best organizers when it came, and I don't say this everywhere, like really, you guys went above and beyond in all the run-up. I even got swag, like you guys, I really, really appreciate it. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. You guys can self-organize. There's nothing stopping any one of you from pulling off anything you fucking want. So do it, all right? So let's clap it up one more time. Thank you so much. And if this ends up on the top of some important building on a flagpole, I'm not taking any responsibility. But I do want photos. I want photos, please. Well, that's pretty much it, guys. I just want to say, like I said, I don't know where the internet is headed, all right? But the more of you that can get involved, doing stuff, taking ideas and doing them, the better. Because it's going to mean better stuff. It's going to mean better companies, but it's also going to mean better photography and better film and better art and better nonprofits and probably even better politicians if we do well enough. And it's so important that we don't screw this up. So no pressure, but I am counting on you. All of us are. And just so you know, when you do IPO or when you do get your Nobel Peace Prize, please let me know, because I want to take all of the credit. All of it. All right, but seriously, thank you so much. Thank you. Now, because I still hate lines and because we're nerds, we wrote some software that will let you avoid having to wait in line to get your book signed. You just text that number and we'll buzz you like a deli counter and tell you to come on up. So you can talk to your fellow Tar Heels, you can start a company together, you can agree to meet up to learn how to code together, and every single book you buy will get you a $25 Donors Choose gift card. Remember donorschoose.org? Yeah, we're giving you cash money. Well, donors choose cash money so you can help a public school classroom in need. So it's almost like a free book. But in the meantime, while you guys text this number, this is Asa, a childhood friend of mine. He also has a rare genetic disorder. He only knows where to fire the t-shirt cannon based on your noise. So make noise and he'll shoot a shirt out. Oh, it's got range. Also, anyone who catches a shirt will also get to ride in our tour bus after the event to Top of the Hill. So.
For Alexis to thank him to come out. Also, he has already left, but we will give this to him. We got him his own Tar Heel swag. He got a shirt to match the team, so we got him a little gift from all of you guys. So we're going to run this to him. We expect to see pictures on Reddit, so if he doesn't do that, make sure you hound him about it on Twitter. Also, for the book signing, so you're going to get a text about when you can go. You will not be allowed to go this way. So when you get your number, you can hang out in the lobby, you can hang out outside, you can hang out in here. We're going to be cleaning up. But when you go, you can track to the right out of the door. Go all the way down the steps. There's going to be a table where you can buy books. There's also going to be a table where Alexis will be. You can buy your book at any time, but you will not be allowed to go on this side where Alexis is until you have your text. And this just gives you like your own little kind of private like talk where you can kind of chit chat. So yeah, thank you again for coming out. Again, go around this way, wait for your text, make new friends, it'll be awesome. Thanks.